Hey Astra Kids, and welcome back. And today I will be giving you my interpretation of what it looks like to have your moon sign in the nakshatra of Bharani. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So before we get into what it means to have your moon sign in this nakshatra of Bharani, first we have to understand what the moon represents, and then we have to dive a little bit into this very, very strong nakshatra. So the moon is one of the deepest parts of who you are as a person. The moon is representing your mind, and as the moon is representing your mind, it is also representing everything in your tangible reality, including your physical body. The moon is everything that is happening in your mind that is perceived from this tangible reality, but it is also everything that is projected out into the reality through your mind. So the moon is a projector. The moon is very reflective, and these positions of the moon really have a deep indication, especially as we look at it through the nakshatras. The moon is also going to be your place in the world, how you find your place, how you connect to others, how you are reacting and responding, your emotional attachments, and the moon overall is your emotional nature. The moon also is your libido. It is your sexual energy and vitality. And the moon, along with this, is related to your mother, the connection to your mother and your home, everything that brings you comfort, peace, happiness. The moon is all about your emotional fulfillment. The moon also is a very fluctuating planet. And so the moon also can indicate change. And so if you look at your birth chart and see where those areas are where the moon is in your chart, looking at the houses that are lorded by the moon, so this would be your houses that have Cancer in it, you will see a lot of change and fluctuation in those areas. So, for example, for those of you who have an Aries moon, Aries ascendant, especially with the ascendant, if you look at that fourth house, Cancer is the ruler there. So that fourth house, you're going to see a lot of fluctuation, changeability in your connection to your mother, your home, the whole home environment and domestic life can have some fluctuation happening in that area. So moon always is indicating changes and patterns in our life. The moon also is deeply related to the subconscious, to your entire psyche and how your moon is, your state of mind, your mental stability. All of this is going to be represented by the moon. And this is why the moon feels most comfortable. It is in its Mula Trikona sign in Taurus, because Taurus is all about stability. It's about comfort. It's about what's familiar to us. So the moon really finds the most comfort in the sign of Taurus, where it can find that stability, that security, that connection to family and everything that is familiar to us. The moon also is going to indicate your fame and success in life. The moon actually is an indicator of popularity. So this is something that a lot of astrologers don't talk about. Wherever the moon is in your chart, whatever house it's ruling, this is definitely an indication of popularity, of being recognized by making an impact on society. The moon also is related to politics, and it is connected to anything where you are helping, where you're nurturing, where you're giving hospitality towards others. All of this is related to the moon. The moon also can be an indication of wealth and success in life. Although this is not the primary indication of this, the moon also is all about, once again, all of your luxuries, your comforts, all of the possessions that you hold. And this is not in a pleasure-seeking way like Venus. This is more about your security when we talk about the moon. So moon all dealing with your attachments. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this Bharani nakshatra. And Bharani is a Venus nakshatra according to the Vimshottari Dasha system. So, the Venus nakshatras have this Venusian quality. So, we have to understand what Venus is about also. Venus is all about what we derive pleasure and beauty from in this tangible reality. Venus's agenda is to bring happiness and satisfaction into our lives. Venus is related strongly to love, relationships, cooperation, peace, harmony. Venus is also connected to creativity, anything in the music, the arts, drama. It is a very philosophical and cultural planet that is related to higher knowledge and luxury, class. This is a nakshatra that is all about everything that is beautiful, that is fashionable, everything that is beautiful according to this tangible artificial world, including everything that is beautiful on a natural level as well. Venus is all about food, indulgence, sex, intimacy. Venus is the passion, it is the desire to indulge in all things that are beautiful and pleasurable in this life. Venus also is said to be the Asuria, the teacher or guru of the Asuras, which are the lower entities, the demons from the mythology. So this is related to those lower primal drives and desires, which once again, Venus is all about fulfilling our pleasure and satisfaction in life. However, these lower entities also are associated with occult knowledge and secrets. And so Venus also is related to Tantra. It is related to any sort of occult or mystical studies that are hidden away or that are known by very little, where you have to develop training, you have to go into great lengths to learn this information. So this is all related to Venus. Venus is also the feminine principle, so strongly related to females in general. And in particular, in a male's chart, Venus also represents a spouse. But overall, Venus is representing the spouse in everyone's chart as well. So Venus being all about beauty, about love, about pleasure, about happiness. It is also a very social planet that is about friendship, partnership. All of this coming into play is going to have a huge role in this Bharani nakshatra, as it is the very first Venus nakshatra here in the zodiac. Bharani also is falling in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars, which is very important to note because when Mars and Venus come together, we get very intense energy. Mars is the masculine principle. It is very passionate, it's very assertive, it can be very aggressive. It is the master builder, it is the fighter, the protector, the defender. It is all about standing up for what's right, getting the task done, staying on duty, following the orders. All of this is coming under this Mars energy, and now we are pairing it up with Venus, which is all about our pleasure, our desires, our happiness in this material world. And so when Mars and Venus meet up, we get very, very intense passions and desires. This is a very combustible energy that we're stepping into here with this Bharani nakshatra. And so there is a side to Bharani that can be very extreme, that can be very fanatical in terms of the belief systems that are here in this nakshatra. It can be a nakshatra that can definitely cause some problems at times. There's a little bit of a moodiness or a duality that is to this nakshatra, where it can go from an extreme of being very kind and sweet to being very moody and temperamental. So we're going to talk more about that as we continue throughout this nakshatra. But this is also a nakshatra that is strongly related to death. And we're going to talk more about that because death does not necessarily mean that there is something dark or negative about this nakshatra. There is a lot here that is actually related to transformation. Bharani is nicknamed the Star of Restraint. And so it is also related to discipline. It is related to anything that is restraining, restricting us, any kind of containment. And this is strongly related to Bharani. Bharani is symbolized by the female sex organ. So this is all about this birth process. And so the birth and the death are related here to transformation. And this is a huge theme of this Bharani Nakshatra. Bharani also is a very fierce nakshatra, and it is ruled over by Yama, which is the lord of death, which is the judge, the punisher, the one who is bringing about our karmas and justice at the end of our days as we cross over into the next plane of existence. And the desire of Bharani is to be the lord of the ancestors, which leads to moving into the next world. So there's this huge connection with death, with the afterlife, with everything that is happening beyond this physical plane here in this Bharani Nakshatra. Bharani is symbolized as far as the sexual type by a elephant, and the elephant is also related to this containment. And we see that also in the very last nakshatra of Revati, where it contains all of the 27 nakshatras, where it has mastered all of these energies. But here in Bharani, this specifically is about the containment of this nakshatra. So those who are born under Bharani tend to have great endurance and self-discipline. Very strong people who are very determined, able to push through obstacles and to endure through the challenges of life. But they tend to come into a lot of challenges throughout their life where they are put in situations that are very difficult, that are knocking them off balance. And this leads to a personal empowerment through transformation. So this nakshatra is all about transformation, overcoming the obstacles of life, becoming a better person through these struggles and difficulties. This is a huge theme here, and on the negative end of Bharani, we can see that this energy again can be very abrupt, very chaotic. It can cause problems, but this ultimately leads to becoming a stronger version of oneself through those obstacles. Bharani also has very strong morals. So once again, this can have very fanatical beliefs, but all about what is good, what is righteous, standing up for what is right, speaking out against what is right. So this also is strongly related to justice, and those who are born under this nakshatra can be drawn to being a social justice warrior out in the world, being an activist, standing up for the rights of others, even working in law can be related to this nakshatra. Very strong disciplinarians that are born under Bharani, who are all about maintaining what is right, what is dharmic, which again is related back to the god of this nakshatra, Yama, which is the one who maintains the order in terms of our karma as we are dying, as we're crossing over to the other plane of existence. Yama is the judge, the one who brings about justice. Bharani is also a very creative nakshatra. In the previous nakshatra of Ashwini, we talked about how the sign of Aries is the birth, it is the beginning, and so there is a lot of creative energy that is here as everything is beginning to come into creation. And so very skilled artists and creative individuals who are born under Bharani as well. This also, with this rulership of Venus, increases these artistic qualities. It also can make these individuals born under Bharani very much interested in entertainment, in art, in any kind of indulgence, anything that is of class, that is cultured, that is this experience that they are fully indulging and immersing themselves into is also strongly related to this. There also tends to be a love of food, of luxury, of the finer things in life, again related to this Venus energy as we come into Bharani. Bharani is also a very honest and forthright nakshatra. Very much, again, good qualities that are under this nakshatra and very strong morals. So these are people who are very honest. They are very much about standing up for what's right and maintaining self-discipline. These are very hard-working people in terms of their job. Anything where they have a sense of duty, of obligation, they have this incredible endurance and willpower to push through. Bharani also can be very loving, very nurturing, can have a great sense of hospitality and helping others. So very kind individuals, even though there is a bit of a fierceness here in terms of the beliefs and fighting for what is right. There's still this very sensitive and nurturing side to Bharani. Bharani has the power to remove or cleanse impurities. And so this nakshatra also is all about removing the things that are not good for us. Once again, related to the justice, related for standing up for what's right. But also there tends to be a huge theme here with removing clutter, with removing bad habits, which again is related back to the transformation aspect of Bharani. Many people born under Bharani can find themselves with very unhealthy habits in their lives that they ultimately end up changing as they grow and develop themselves. And so this power to cleanse, to remove these impurities is all about purging out everything that is no longer good for you. There can also be an interest in gardening under this nakshatra. Anything that is creative, that is nurturing, that is having to do with transforming something, bringing something to life is all related to this Bharani nakshatra. Another huge quality of Bharani is that it is very romantic nakshatra. There is a huge belief in romance under Bharani, and those who have this position of moon in Bharani can be very much romantic, where there is a strong belief of this attachment on a soul level. So this is actually about soulmates and this deeper connection in love that actually is also related to being attached to your loved ones after they have passed and crossed over to the other side. So there's this strong belief that when it comes to love, that you are attached at the soul here in this Bharani nakshatra. Very romantic, very loving. This is also sometimes a bit of a tragic nakshatra where there can be losses, endings, closures in relationships and connections that you have. There can be a great sense of loss, and this again tends to be overcome by these beliefs of soulmates, of past lives, of this connection that transcends life and death itself. And this again is related back to Yama, the god of death, which is also depicted as holding a wheel, and this wheel depicts the whole process of life and death, how death actually becomes life again. So this repeating pattern of dying and being reborn, incarnating once again, this is all related back to Yama. And so these people believe that life itself is eternal, that when you die, you are simply transforming to the next stage of your life, and you will return again in a different incarnation. So this is all connected to Bharani. Bharani also can be a bit mysterious, like our previous nakshatra of Ashwini. We see the same kind of smirk that these people can have, where they can give smiles that really give away very little in their expression. And they can be very much introverted on the quieter side, except for when it comes to standing up for what is right. Once again, these are very strong people These also can be very funny and entertaining people, very witty, very clever minded individuals, and very much intelligent, which again is relating back to this Venus energy. So these are people who are very, very strong people. One of the biggest challenges under this nakshatra, though, is dealing with jealousy and attachment. So there tends to be a strong desire to attach to something that they love, that they feel connected to. And if someone else has achieved this and they do not have this on the lower end, this nakshatra can struggle with feelings of jealousy. This is definitely a very intense nakshatra, once again, where we can see the extremes, where these people have a lot of good qualities, but they can become very much temperamental, moody, frustrated at times, which can cause some problems. Those born with their moon sign under Bharani can also be very cheerful, happy people who can be very uplifting and kind towards others. Once again, there is a sense of humor and a very light-hearted nature that is here, that is on the opposite extreme of those more intense qualities. Now let's talk a little bit about the appearance. Those who are born under Bharani tend to have very magnetic eyes, and this is the most striking feature here, along with that beautiful smile that they have also. This magnetic gaze that they have comes from this influence of Venus, once again, which is all about everything that is beautiful and pleasurable. These people are very courageous. They are very much determined in terms of their job, their career. They can acquire a great deal of wealth, which can help in their success and everything that they are trying to achieve as far as luxuries and material gains. On the negative side, once again, they can be very much controlling. They can have very fanatical belief systems and have this very dominating approach when it comes to enforcing what is right and wrong. There also can be a tendency towards very extreme chaotic emotions. Again, mood swings can come through this Bharani nakshatra. And in the most extreme cases, this also can become very violent. But something that we see prominent in this Bharani nakshatra tends to come through their speech. When they are upset and moody, they can become very sarcastic and can use foul language. So that is the negative side here. Now, each nakshatra is 13 degrees, 20 minutes. And so this Bharani nakshatra is going to fit for 13 degrees 20 minutes, and we can divide that 13 degree 20 minute section up into 4 sections or padas, which are each 3 degrees 20 minutes, and they're all going to have a different flavor. So let's go ahead and talk about these 4 padas. The very first pada here of Bharani is, the very first one is falling under a Leo Navamsa. So if you look in your D9 Navamsa chart, you will find this first pada here under the sign of Leo, and this is especially going to have an impact on your creative talents and abilities. This is definitely a huge nakshatra for being in the spotlight, for being in a position of fame where you are expressing yourself, where you are putting those creative gifts and talents out into the public. This also is going to put an emphasis on the stronger qualities of Bharani, where you can be someone who is very much work-oriented, someone who is persevering, who is reaching success. A lot of dynamic strength that is found in this first pada. For those of you who are born under the second quarter or second pada of Bharani, this is going to fall under a Virgo Navamsa. So if you look in your D9 Navamsa chart, this will fall under the sign of Virgo. And this is going to put a huge emphasis on the more nurturing qualities of Bharani. Those of you who are born under this second quarter would do excellent in hospitality and helping others, providing service. There can be strong healing and counseling abilities under this second quarter, and this can definitely give a huge interest in, once again, exploring death, exploring transformation, exploring on a deeper philosophical level and on a psychological level for those of you born under this second quarter. For those who are born under the third quarter or third pada of Bharani are born under a Libra Navamsa. This is going to put a huge influence on relationships. Those who are born under this quarter can be very romantic, very much partnership oriented. You can do well in business partnerships. You could be very friendly, very harmonious person, and also very much focused on business and your success and acquiring material wealth and gains in life. Those who are born in the last quarter or last pada of Bharani are born under a Scorpio Navamsa. And this is going to put an influence on more of the emotional aspects of Bharani. So this is where we can especially see some mood swings, some very intense energy here at this last point here of Bharani. This can definitely showcase the extremes of going from being very sweet, very loving and tender, showing others compassion, to being very moody and going into more of a forceful mood. So you want to be careful here on the negative end of coming off as too controlling, of getting into these very intense and destructive moods.